We're joined by an actress, writer, and comedian who's been taking the world by storm and has the distinction of being named as one of the 10 comics to watch by Variety magazine. She currently stars as the lead in the Netflix comedy Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, which has just picked up 7 Primetime Emmy nominations, including Outstanding Comedy. Ellie Kemper, welcome to the Kelly Alexander Show.
Thank you so much for having me, Kelly, and thank you for that wonderful intro. I feel great.
Well, you should, because it's amazing, all of the accomplishments you've got going on. And, I was funny, when I was doing my research, you have so much, you have so many sort of titles to your name. When you were growing up, is this the life that you thought you would be living, being this successful actress? You're a writer, you're also a comedian. Did you think that's where you were headed?
No, I did not. If anything, I thought I would be a nun. I really, like a Catholic nun. I was a huge fan of The Sound of Music. It got caught in our VCR, and so we were forced to sort of watch it on a loop. And I idolized Fräulein Maria. So not Julie Andrews, but Fräulein Maria. So I did not think necessarily that this is what I would be doing. And if I gave any thought, I think, to what I wanted to be when I grew up, it was Fräulein Maria. So that dream was not realized, or hasn't been yet. But there's still time.
There's still time. There's lots of times. So What would you consider then to be your first big break that, really sort of kicked the doors open in the entertainment industry for you?
Yes, that was definitely The Office, the U.S. version of The Office. I got to play a receptionist named Erin Hannon on The Office. And it started off, I was only going to be on for 4 episodes, a 4-episode arc, and then the storylines changed, and I got to stay on full time, and that was absolutely my first time, being on a television show. That was my big break. I was very grateful.
Now, you are a part, I would say, of a very distinguished group of ladies who starred in the hit movie Bridesmaids back in 2011, which I think will definitely go down in history as one of the great, comedies ever. What was it like being a part of that cast and working alongside Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Maya, and the list goes on? What was it like?
It felt effortless. It just felt like, okay, well, Annie Mumolo and Kristen Wiig wrote this movie, and it's about an experience that we personally could all relate to. It's about a friend getting married and, everything that happens as a result of that. It certainly didn't feel like, this is going to be some groundbreaking film. This is, going to break box office records or anything like that. It just felt like this is a nice time. And with these very funny women who I had admired from afar before but had never gotten to work with, I think one of the great things about that movie is that no one at the time was sort of a, cemented movie star. It was people from television and certainly all these women were hugely successful and very funny, but it wasn't like, I don't think that there was anyone necessarily headlining the whole thing. It was more just like a cluster of funny women, making a funny movie, and then to have it be received in the way that it was really, I felt like icing on the cake, because of course, when you make something, you want people to respond to it, and it was great that people responded to it. I didn't know how it would necessarily turn out. I don't think anyone ever knows until it does come out. But it just felt very, at the time, we shot it during the summer, and I just remember, like, when I think back on it, I'm like, that was nice. But I wasn't producing or writing on that, so they may have been a little more stressed, but I wasn't.
That's always good when there's no stress. Now, now you star in your very own Netflix show, The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, which has received rave reviews for its first season. How did the project come to you, and do you feel like the character, on some level, is an extension of yourself?
I do think, it draws on certain characteristics I hope that I have. I think that I am personally upbeat and cheerful. There's a fierceness, I think, and a strength to Kimmy that I hope I share, but I'm not sure that I do to the same extent that she does. But the project came to me because I had met with Tina Fey and Robert Carlock, who are the brains behind the amazing show 30 Rock, and I had met with them just to talk vaguely about, potential projects down the line, and then a few months later, they came to me with this very specific idea for a TV show, and so that's how it happened. And I wasn't sure if they were serious at first when they told me the idea, because I thought that you can't possibly make a comedy out of something so very serious. And of course they weren't joking, because they did do that. But I think that's, of course, why they're as brilliant as they are, because the answer to a tragedy is not to shy away from that or just pretend stuff doesn't happen. Stuff does happen. So how do you treat that and still go forward? And that's, I think, exactly what this show does, and it does it in a very funny way. So my hat's off to Tina Fey and Robert.
Now, do you feel like when you're in the show, and if you sort of look at the show from afar, do you feel like, in a way, you're sort of the ringmaster, and then all these characters get to float around you, and you, on some level, keep it all together? Like, are you the anchor, do you feel, in that show?
I think it's very much an ensemble show. I think that the characters that surround Kimmy are so rich and deep, and there's so many layers to them that there is that it is. I think it rests on all of our shoulders. But I do, at its core, I guess the show is about Kimmy's journey from this horrifying experience to the new life that she's made in spite of it. And so it is. We are following her story, I think, but there's no way you could ever follow that story without all these characters around her. If that's an answer.
That's a good answer. It's just been announced that the show has picked up 7 Emmy nominations, including 4 Outstanding Comedy. How does it feel to be recognized by the Academy and your peers?
It's the hugest compliment that you could hope for. And, you never know how those things are going to go, but it is nice to be recognized in that way. And so, and I think that we're all thrilled because this was his first year. For a while, we weren't sure, is it going to be on NBC, is it going to be on Netflix, whatever, but luckily it found a wonderful home at Netflix, and people did seem to respond to it. And just to be, to be recognized in its first year is enormous. So I think we all feel very grateful.
I have to ask you this. I think a lot of people, are really starting to come to you and to know who you are, fans and all that sort of stuff. But when it comes to celebrity fans of yours, what celebrity has told you that you love your work and it freaked you out? Like, you're just like, I can't believe this person likes what I do.
Oh, that's a good question. And mind you, it's not like, that does not happen very often. So the number of people who have said that is small. So let me think. I know who it is. I was at Ellen, on the Ellen DeGeneres show. I was a guest on her show, and Lily Tomlin was backstage, and she was, I don't know why, maybe she was taping for a separate day, but she said, oh, I love your work. And so you never know if people are just saying that. I feel sometimes people say, oh, I'll just err on the side of saying I love your work, and then it turns out the person is like not even in show business, but better to err on the side of compliments. But she said that to me, and I couldn't believe it. So that was a couple of years ago. That was when I was on The Office. So that Lily Tomlin is Lily Tomlin. So to even speak to her was really cool. But that, if she was telling the truth, if she wasn't telling the truth, I don't care. I chose to believe it.
That's awesome. Now, you are hosting a Just for Laughs gala in Montreal. Was it hard for them to convince you, or were you excited to be a part of a festival that I think is obviously very well known in comedic circles, both up here in Canada and obviously around the world, and especially in the States as well?
It wasn't, they didn't need to convince me, because I like you said, I knew like to have any part in this festival would be an honor and a lot of fun. I will mention, I'm not a stand-up comedian. I'm a little nervous about some components of the gala that I'm hosting, just because I want to make sure that everything goes smoothly. But I guess in this situation, I am the ringmaster, so I have to follow through. But I'm doing a few jokes, but it's mostly going to be like music and then some, sketches. So I think we'll be okay. I've never been to Montreal, and I can't wait to be there in any capacity.
That is fantastic. Please make sure you have the poutine. I'm sure people have told you that already, but you have to have that when you're here.
I was maybe going to incorporate that into my joke, so I was just Googling. Is poutine or poutine? How do you say it? Poutine?
It's poutine. Poutine. Yeah, poutine.
Poutine. Okay. Well, it's only like, it's the morning here, but I'm like, oh, should I have some now? It makes me very hungry, all these Google images.
You should get on that. Now, I was, again, doing my research and stuff, and you have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I cannot find a Twitter account for you. Are you not actually on Twitter?
I'm glad you can't, because that means there's no imposters. No, I'm not on Twitter. That would I know my strengths and my weaknesses. That would not be a strength for me.
Wow. Okay, that's amazing because it just seems like for a lot of celebrities, that's their social media of choice, to sort of get things across and then sort of have some contact with their fans. Do you think you'll ever get on there, or are you just happy to sort of stay away from it?
I think, never say never, but I don't see it in my immediate plans. I think that, I will go on Twitter and see what people are, writing about and what the, public dialogue is. But I have to say, I don't necessarily feel any better or better informed after I do that. So I feel like if I were to dive into the fray, I would personally have too much trouble tearing myself away from it. So I don't think that I will, but that's just because I wouldn't be good at it.
Now, before I let you go, last question. Apart from your work on Kimmy Schmidt, what other irons do you have in the fire that, are going to be coming our way soon that you can talk about? Like, is there going to be a book in the works? It just seems like you have so much to share.
Very nice of you. I do want to write a book. I don't have anything specific set right now, but I have been working all summer on writing essays, and it'd be a humor book. It wouldn't, no memoir or anything like that. But I am working on that, and I right now I'm mostly focused on starting the new season of the show, which will start again in August. But I also had a fun little stint hosting the Today Show, which is an American morning show, which was a lot of fun, and I really like being a host. So we'll see if there might be more of that coming down the pipe.
Well, you were great. I saw The Running Man. I saw when you did The Running Man, so you should...
That's all you need to see. That's all you need to see. Because that says it all.
It was amazing. Well, Ellie, thank you so much for your time. You are a rock star, and we cannot wait for you to come up to Montreal, so thank you.
Kelly, thank you so much for having me.
That's actress, comedian, and writer Ellie Kemper. Again, make sure to watch her comedy Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt on Netflix.